And welcome everybody, and we'll start with you and we'll introduce ourselves. Yep.
I'm Austin Shaw. I'm an intern at the Shadowwood Hampton this summer.
I didn't even recognize you, Austin.
Yes.
It's been a long time
I thought it was you.
Danny.
I'm Danny Arps. I'm the Teton County Planner.
Alan Gagne, Teton County Road Superintendent.
Joe Delwo, Teton County Commissioner.
Dick Snellman, Teton County Commissioner.
Mick Niskwitz, Equipment Sales Consultant, Torgerson.
Kyle Torgerson, doing an internship at Torgerson's.
Paula Giaconetti, Clerk and Recorder.
Melody Martinson, Shadowwood Hampton Editor.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming. We have minutes from May 5th, May 19th, and June 2nd.
I'd move to accept the minutes.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have no road encroachments. So that brings us to, I'm gonna open a subdivision review fee hearing for 2 weeks so we can take comment on the proposed fee schedule. And Danny, do you want to add anything on that?
So we have contracted with Staley Engineering for subdivision reviews, and there are certain extraordinary circumstances when those reviews go beyond the normal scope of work, where those fees don't cover the engineering. So we consulted with Mako's land use attorney and a number of other counties to see what they do to cover those fees, and the language that I would like to see included with the fee schedule says, in those cases where additional review fees will be requested, staff shall notify the applicant of this potential during the pre-application conference. Once an application has been submitted for element review, to the extent an initial application fee does not provide sufficient funds to pay for outside professional services for the review of the applicant will be charged the actual review costs. An estimate of the additional review fees will be provided to the applicant upon request by the applicant. The total fee will be calculated after the review is completed. And I don't see this happening very often, but in the case where it does happen, it saves the taxpayers and the county from paying those additional review fees. Since the developer or the landowner is the person benefiting from the subdivision, it makes sense that they pay for those fees, in my opinion.
Okay, so that hearing will be open for 2 weeks, Mel, so.
Danny, what's an hourly rate look like for Staley?
It varies depending on who on their staff is doing the review, but it can go up to $185 an hour.
Do you know kind of a minimal? What's on the low end of that?
About $100 an hour.
Okay, so we could say range from 100 per hour to 180 per hour.
Yeah. And we don't ever know until it's done and they invoice us. And when they invoice it, they break it out per project, so we know who is responsible for what, basically.
Yeah, and the issue is that we all agree that this developer should be paying the cost, not the taxpayer. So it's just kind of a hiccup while we're getting our relationship with Staley going.
And there's several other counties, Richland County, Monroe County, Custer County, Carbon County. They all do very similar to what we do, and a lot of them have higher fees than we do because they wrap sanitation and subdivision review all together on their fee schedule.
Okay, so that hearing will be open for 2 weeks.
And ways people can weigh in on this, Joe, would be
Absolutely.
emailing the commissioners,
Yep,
calling
phone call.
the commissioners,
Written.
coming to the next meeting, writing a letter.
Yep.
All of those.
All of the above, you bet. Okay, any further discussion on the subdivision review hearing? Then we'll move on to the budget hearing. I'm going to open a budget hearing for the next 2 weeks, and I'll let Paula explain that.
The counties are allowed to do budget amendments anytime during the year if they've received any funds from state or federal that were unanticipated. Also any fees that may have been, like our ambulance they had increased fees, so we will make that budget change and increase that budget. The health department has had 3 or 4 additional, I think I'm just amending their grants and getting more fees, and we will get those done. And then it's just making sure that all of the funds are in balance and that nobody has a negative. They're just budget amendments that are allowed by statute.
So again, this hearing will be open for 2 weeks now, and we're gonna have a special meeting on June 30th. So people are welcome to comment between now and June 30th. Any further discussion on the budget hearing?
Do we have a list of the funds yet?
I have one,
Okay.
I have one resolution done, but as I get them, I'll hover over the sheet.
Sure, that would be great. June 30th, Joe, at 10?
Yep.
And then you'll take action on them.
Yep, I'll close the
Yeah.
hearing and then yep, we normally do that. Just try to get it close to the last day of the year to clean everything up on the budget.
Okay.
Any further discussion on the budget hearing? Okay, that'll move us down to loader bids. We went out for bids on a loader and we only received one. We received that yesterday at 1 o'clock and it's from Torgerson's LLC. Okay, so the net purchase price is $345,285.95. 285.95.
Again, real slow.
$345,285.95.
Thanks, sorry.
And they valued our trade-in of our existing loader at $157,952. And they also valued a trade-in of a 1990 Cat D7 at $55,000.
So Joe, does the net cost, the $345,000 number, does that include the trading value too? Or is that what it costs without trading of the other two?
I'm assuming that's the starting cost.
Oh.
That's the starting cost,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, and then the other two are subtracted from it.
Yeah.
So the next is a repurchase price. And up to 3 years and 3,000 hours, the repurchase price is $288, Nick. In 4 years and 4,000 hours, the repurchase price would be $245. In 5 years and 5,000 hours, the repurchase would be $215.
Could you repeat those, Mr. The 3-year?
3-year was $288. 4-year was $245. And the 5-year was $215.
Thank you.
Joe, what are the specs on this loader?
Okay, this is, we talked about at our previous meeting, that if we got a lot bigger loader, that we would be able to dig out the gravel out of the pits without a dozer. Both of our dozers are getting old. The one that we're thinking about trading off is 32 years old.
Mr. Chairman, we have And no exceptions to the bid specifications. All boxes were.
Yeah, they were all checked, I see
Yes,
that.
sir.
So the new one has a 5.5 cubic yard bucket on it. And the old one was what, 3?
3.
So it's almost twice as big as, not quite twice as big as the old one. And the existing loader that we have, the payments are done. So the thought is if we buy this new loader, we can just roll over and the payments will be about the same as the old loader. Which we already have budgeted, so it's a way to get away from using the Caterpillar, and if we can do that, then we kind of lower our exposure to a big cost of rebuilding a Cat at some point in the near future.
Mr. Chairman, another notable point is the fuel consumption is half,
Yep,
which is very critical this time.
yeah, I just fueled my vehicle up this morning and it was $4.95 for gas.
So when you say it's half, is it half compared to the loader that they're getting rid of, or half?
17,
To the dozer that we're getting
Compared
rid
to
of.
the
Yeah.
dozer.
Okay, to
Yeah.
to the dozer.
yeah, it's burning about 17 gallons an hour. And this new wheel loader would be half.
And time should be cut a little bit for loading trucks and
So the thought is we can roll over the payments and do the job of the existing loader and the dozer with this new piece of equipment for the same payment that we have been making. So normally we take these under advisement, but I guess we've only got one bid to figure out. Do you wanna, what's your thought, Dick?
Alan, you've looked at it or been able to look at it and
Yeah, I'd looked at that, the loader, the money savings, yes, we have a new loader and we still have a payment, but the loader has more than one use. The dozer basically is a one-use machine. We have to haul the dozer, which is a safety factor. The loader, we can drive it down the road faster than we're gonna move the dozer. There's just a lot of pluses for us to have a bigger loader. In time, hopefully we can get a smaller one to do smaller stuff, but at this point, it's a plus for us. It's a huge advantage in savings, and fuel is huge.
and in our conversations before, we still have a dozer.
Yeah, we still have
If we
one
have to
dozer
reclaim things
to
or
reclaim
whatever.
things and use as we need.
Yeah.
It just won't be used near as much. And
Right.
So it's old. It's older than the one we're getting rid of, but we won't use it near as much.
Yeah.
So it'll stretch the life of the old dozer
Yeah.
out too.
Yeah.
Well, under those circumstances and discussion, I would move that we accept the bid and
And purchase it.
purchase it.
I would second that. Any further discussion? I think it's a win-win. Now,
Point of clarification, are you purchasing it with the trade-in of the other two pieces, or are you purchasing it outright?
we're purchasing it with the trade-in of the other two, the
Okay.
existing loader and the high track dozer.
And the dozer.
And we're keeping our other dozer,
Yes.
yep, and it'll be on
I'm
a
gonna try
3-year.
really hard not to screw the dozer loaders thing up.
Yeah,
That's all right. I mean, it just happens because there was just a lot of confusion. And
bids
The other day.
for equipment for the counties they're always complicated. And it's hard to understand, but I imagine it would be even harder to make it so the public can understand.
And the reason for it is more efficient, fuel-wise, time-wise, and we're keeping the payments on the budget virtually the same.
And we're lowering our exposure. That I remember when I first got elected, we took that D7 down to Great Falls to have $4,500 worth of work on it. And by the time we got back, Jim was the foreman then, we had $45,000 worth of work done on it because they just kept finding other stuff. So if we can run this new loader, and I feel like we're lowering our exposure to a big payout. So any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, in regards to, thank you, by the way. Thank you very much for this business and opportunity. With that being said, you have mentioned that the payment would be similar to the payment that you have just relieved the county.
Yep, on our existing loader.
That implies that you would like to move forward with the financing, correct?
Yep.
Okay. I have the proper paperwork to make that move forward. I would also like to extend to Teton County and on the minutes that Torgerson Equipment will put the wheel loader in your possession for 30 days on a notes receivable to allow you time to get the financing in place and still have the utilization of the loader, being a municipality.
Okay, very good. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Mick
Yep, thank you, Mick.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Is this
and
something
Kyle.
that you guys can deliver fairly quickly, or is it like months out?
Tomorrow.
That was a good point.
Yeah, which is unusual because most of the time when we buy equipment anymore, we have to wait between 12 and 18 months, but they happen to have one on the lot.
Okay.
Next week.
Okay, thank you, Mick. I appreciate it.
Yes.
And if you have any further questions, Mel, after the meeting, I'll try to answer them. Okay, yep. Okay, that brings us to the mileage resolution. And Paula, did you give Mel a copy of this so I don't have to read it?
You don't have, the only thing that changed, Mel, is that the
It's just,
mileage for IRS went up from 58.5 to 62.5. And I can shoot you that.
That would be awesome.
it's resolution 2022-16, and it raises the mileage up to 62.5 cents a mile, and it was at 59.5 cents a mile.
Do I have 59 and a half? It's 58.
Yeah, this one says 59.5.
Air, I'll get it fixed.
Yeah, because it was up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think the federal government realizes that the price of fuel has gone up. Just an observation.
Is that increase close to what the cost of fuel has went up?
Evidently. So could I get a motion from you on the corrected resolution, Dick?
Excuse me. I would move that we accept the resolution
I would
for the
second that.
increase.
I would second that. Any further discussion?
Just that this applies to, maybe just tell us what this applies to, Joe. How does it, is there kind of a two-tiered thing? There's so many miles at this rate and then so many
Yes.
miles at another
Yeah.
rate?
Yeah.
Is that in the resolution?
First 1,000, yeah. First 1,000 is at the low, and anything above 1,000 is 4 cents less.
And it also mentions the per diem, but that didn't change on the meals.
And this applies when county employees do not have a county vehicle
Yep.
available to them and they need to travel for work purposes.
Yeah,
And the commissioners.
And the commissioners, because
Yep.
you guys are the only ones that get paid mileage to come here to the office.
Yes.
For other employees, who are employees, not elected officials, it's just when they have to drive a private vehicle to,
to perform their job or to go to schools or things like that. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, commission reports. I don't have anything.
Not at this point.
Public comment?
I have a question.
Sure.
What is the process going forward for replacing Jane? Ulrich? So are you guys working with extension?
Yeah, Extension does that, and I guess last week I signed the letter, they send us a letter saying if we have anything, any input that we want, and their job description was, it's the same as it's been, so we didn't make any changes, so I did sign that. So it's gonna go forward, they're gonna advertise, and because the positions are different, that we've already went through the process for the ag
Right.
person, but the other position is, I mean, completely different than the ag position, so they're gonna re-advertise, and we probably will be, I assume we'll be doing the interviews sometime within the next month.
So are they re-advertising for the ag position?
No, they're gonna re-advertise for the second position. The positions are completely different.
Right, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
one is family services and one is ag, so the ag one has been filled.
Okay.
Tentatively, they have to do a background check, and that takes time, so. So we're hopefully moving forward because they're down to one part-time person down there.
Yes, yes, and it's the fair in a week and
Yeah.
a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jane was
Jane,
gracious.
She is helping out, yeah.
Yep,
she
and
absolutely
luckily
is.
her new position is with Extension, so they were able to let her have enough leeway in her new position where she can still help run the fair, which was huge.
They
Yeah.
hire a temporary part-time
Okay,
person.
So the timing wasn't great on that deal, but it was a job opportunity she couldn't turn
Yeah.
down, so it was just luckily that it was with Extension, so she can have the latitude to still run the fair, or else we'd really be
yeah.
in a bind.
Paul, who have they hired for temp? Who's their temp? Don't know? Okay.
She's down there working.
I'll shoot Jane an email.
Okay, any further public comment? Danny, you raised your hand?
Yeah, so I'm having Jeff publish this in the paper, but I did complete the county's regional, or the county's hazard mitigation plan with FEMA at the beginning of the year. Montana State DES is also now doing a regional hazard mitigation plan, and so it's a number of counties participating, and I think there's 5 regions. We've been having monthly meetings to discuss the hazards, anything from landslides to wind events to winter weather, tornadoes, flooding, drought, all that kind of stuff. So what we're asking for is for public input, and there's a QR code that's going to be published in the paper. It's also on the very first page of the county's website that I put up there. This is open until June 30th, and if you scan that with your smartphone, it'll pull you into several questions that you can fill out if basically kind of rating the different hazards and how you feel they've been addressed, and moving forward what you'd like to see. There's opportunity to add public comment, pre-disaster mitigation ideas, things like that. So we'd like to have the public input on this if possible. Would appreciate it. It takes like 5 minutes to go through the survey. So if anybody has any questions, they can reach out to me or to Steve Rose or to Deb Coverdell. And their contact information is on the county website also.
Thank you. Any further public comment?
The thing that we've had conversations, the governor has declared disaster pretty much for the whole state. The drought situation here, we're trying to work with different groups right now to get that finalized, so.
Yeah, we'll have to discuss that with the FSA.
Joe, is that with an eye toward doing a county disaster declaration
Yeah.
via your office
Yeah.
because of drought?
Yeah.
It's gonna happen, it's just a matter of the right timing. Because we're dry. Any further public comment? Okay, our next meeting is June 30th, and this one's adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for coming.